What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are basically going to continue our coverage over the Trial of X era of X-Men comics, where we basically pick up with X-Men number 2. Now remember, this is the latest X-Men series to come out from Marvel, and this one came out back in 2021. Now this comes after Jonathan Hickman's run on the X-Men title. Now remember, you do have more fans on board for this one rather than Jonathan Hickman's work on the X-Men. And what I mean by that is, when it came to Jonathan Hickman's X-Men books, a lot of his books will have different characters in every single one of them. And of course, you did not have your usual X-Men team where most fans are used to having. So usually when you have an X-Men book, you always have the same set of characters to make up that new X-Men team. But when it came to Jonathan Hickman, he just shuffled characters around for every single book that he was doing, because a lot of his books were just a bunch of one-shots that kind of came together to tell one overarching storyline. Now, with that being said, when it comes to the latest X-Men series, you do have a set of characters that you are going to see. It's like having an actual team back when it comes to X-Men comics. You're not going to have different characters just shuffled around in every single book. You have the same set of characters for the entire series. You might have some characters leave, some might join, but at least you still have a team once again. Now, when it comes to the early books of this new X-Men series, at first it may seem like they are a bunch of one-shots, but they do come together to tell one overarching storyline. And honestly, the storyline they're telling is really a good one to me personally. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into X-Men number 2. Now, the first page is actually kind of funny, but we actually do pick up at the treehouse. Now remember, the treehouse is basically the new base for the X-Men team. And this base is located right in the middle of New York at one of the many parks in New York. Either way though, you do have Rogue coming home to the treehouse. The problem is though, she does go downstairs to the basement where she finds her husband, Gambit. Now Rogue is part of the X-Men team. Gambit is not. And matter of fact, Gambit is still on the Excalibur team. Either way though, we do see Gambit right now playing poker along with the Rhino, Black Cat, and Ben Grimm. And of course, this makes Rogue very upset because the treehouse should not be used as a place to hang out and play poker. This is an actual base so that the X-Men can use to help protect the world. And so you do have Rogue kind of give Gambit a piece of her mind. And of course, everyone knows Gambit is in trouble, especially when you're married to Rogue. Now that is the moment where we basically jump over to Game World. Now remember, Game World is kind of like this casino in the middle of the universe where people are able to basically just make bets, wager on different kinds of things. Of course, your usual kind of casino. Now, also when it comes to Game World, they're usually involved when a planet is going through something unnatural. And what I mean is that sometimes a planet might be attacked by something that's not part of their planet system. Like of course, aliens attacking or explosions happening from space. Things like that right there that are unnatural. But a lot of times those unnatural things were caused by Game World. And the reason why, because while a planet is going through an unnatural event, you then have people make wagers on if that planet will be able to survive these unnatural events. And of course, it gives Jones a lot of money when people basically make bets and they lose. Now, in the last couple storylines, Game World and Jones have been attacking the Earth, and you have people make wagers on what the Earth will do or will the Earth survive when these unnatural attacks are happening on their planet. Now, you do have Jones ask who's going to be next when it comes to attacking Earth, and that is the moment you have two characters walk up. Now, these two characters are from the homeworld known as New Mari, and basically their king, and I think it's their king, Creve U walks up and says that he has some kind of wave of annihilation, something that could basically wipe off the earth. Or wipe out the earth. Sorry, I said it correctly there. But either way, it should be too powerful for the people of Earth to actually stop. And so with that being said, you have Jones say, fine, if you think your waves of annihilation can wipe the earth out, then go ahead and send it down. And people up here, go ahead and make your wagers, because we're going to see if the earth can actually survive or not. If they do, you win money. If they don't, you lose your money. Or vice versa. If you make your wagers on the idea that earth does survive, or sorry, does not survive, then you do win money. But if the earth do survive, then you lose money. It all comes down to your wagers, to your bets. Now, when it comes to the waves of annihilation, we do basically see that one of the aliens from Numari does crash down onto the earth. Now, when he does, he basically opens up a bottle. And when he drinks this bottle, of course, it's a way to unlock the waves of annihilation. By the way, this alien dude does crash in Kansas. I have no idea why. Anytime you have a story going on where aliens have to crash somewhere, it's always kind of like in the middle of America or New York. It's always like Kansas or Oklahoma, somewhere you have more farm life than usual. Either way though, with this Numari drinking the bottle, of course it was a way to unlock the waves of annihilation, where all these different kinds of creatures begin to pop out of his body. Basically, he does die. But this wave is now been released on the earth. And so now the question is, how will Earth basically survive this right here? Because these creatures that popped out of the body of the Numari is going to go around the earth and basically destroy anything in its path. And of course, that means the X-Men are going to be the ones to stop it. But the question is though, will the X-Men actually be able to stop it? But then we actually pick up with Jean Grey and Synch. Now, Synch is a very important character because when it comes to Synch, he has the ability to copy other mutants' powers. And so right now, it's Jean Grey trying to teach Synch how to control or how to use her powers when he's basically copying her powers. How to be a very powerful psychic, but under control. And so while you have Jean Grey and Synch kind of working on that, that is the moment you have Jean Grey and Synch realize something is going on in Kansas. And of course, we know what it is. It is the waves of annihilation. But they also found out that basically a lot of lives were just wiped out in Kansas, which means that the X-Men must hurry and handle this problem very quickly. Now, the next few pages are really more of the X-Men working together as a team to stop the Annihilation Wave. Now, the Annihilation Wave, this is not their first time ever in Marvel Comics. Matter of fact, they first appeared back in the big storyline that everybody loves, known as Annihilation. But either way though, with that book right there, the Annihilation Wave was on a bigger scale. This right here is basically a smaller version of the Annihilation Wave. Either way right now, these X-Men characters, they have never experienced the Annihilation Wave. Now, Rogue knows about it because Captain America, when she was on the Unity Squad, he had basically tested every single member of that team on different things that could possibly happen to the Earth in the near future to basically keep them on their toes. And so Rogue knows about it, but again, Rogue never experienced it. And so right now, it's the X-Men working together to basically stop the Annihilation Wave. Now, while you have the X-Men team working together to basically stop the Annihilation Wave, you do have Jean Grey try to read the minds of the creatures. Now, while she is trying to read the minds of the creatures, she does realize something here, that basically the creatures are brain dead. And so she's kind of like, they're just being forced to do what they were told to do, which is destroy anything in your path, which honestly, that is why they're known as the Annihilation Wave. They're basically going around destroying things in their path like they were made to do. But of course, you have Jean Grey trying to find at least one brain that she can actually read to hopefully learn more about why the Annihilation Wave appeared on Earth. And right now, she's trying to find the mind of the person who basically drunk that bottle that had released the Annihilation Wave. Now, of course, she does find that person's mind, but she was only able to read part of his mind. But luckily for her, it did give her the information that she basically needed. Now, after she does get that information, you do have Jean Grey tell Sunfire to go ahead and just burn the wave down completely. And so once he gets the heads up, he does it, and the Annihilation Wave has been handled by our new X-Men team. Now, the next couple pages are actually dedicated to Sunfire. And honestly, I like this a lot. And the reason why, because when it comes to Sunfire, he's been around for a very long time in Marvel Comics. And so it seems like this is Marvel showing the character development of Sunfire. Because when he first appeared, he was more about himself and his country, and that was it. He didn't care for the X-Men. He didn't care for other countries around the world. Now, later on, he did join the X-Men, and then he also joined the Avengers. But to him, he still felt like when he was out there being a hero with the X-Men or being a hero for the Avengers, he always felt like his life was still pointless, that he was not fulfilling his actual purpose for the Earth. Even when COPPA was made and all the mutants came together to basically fight for a nation, to keep their nation, it still felt like to Sunfire that his life was still pointless, that he did not fulfill what his life purpose actually is. And so that is why he asked to be an X-Men, so that he can basically protect the Earth, protect the people of Earth, no matter if they're mutants or humans, and on top of that, protect other people from different planets as well. That is why he wanted to be an X-Men character, or on the X-Men team, sorry. Now, with that being said, though, you do have the people of Kansas, or this people from the small town in Kansas, basically say that because the X-Men has saved their lives, they're going to stay and barbecue with them. Like, hey guys, listen, you saved our lives. Let us give you guys dinner. We have great barbecue, so let's go ahead, make some barbecue, hang out with us, because you guys did us a great thing by saving us from the Annihilation Wave. Now, this is also huge for me because it shows that humans are now beginning to look at mutants in a better way. Because remember, for years and years and years and years in Marvel Comics, usually you have people look at mutants in the wrong way. But now it seems like humans are beginning to look at mutants in a better light. Now that is the moment where we basically jump over to a random house. Now we actually do pick up with a random family, but on top of that though, we have no idea where this family basically lives at. All we know is that this random family appears out of nowhere in the book. Now the father is just coming home for dinner. Now here's your first red flag right here. As soon as he arrives home for dinner, you do have the mom say, "Welcome home, King." And I'm kind of like, okay, she's praising him more in a king entitlement way, not kind of like she's queen and he's king and they are a power couple raising their child. So red flag right there. Either way though, when he does come home, he does realize that she gave him something on his dinner plate that he usually does not like to eat at all. And of course, she realized that she had made a mistake. Now at first, it does seem like the father is not upset, but really he is. And out of nowhere, he kills off the mom and the daughter, sorry, the son, not daughter, but he kills them off without actually even touching them, without actually moving nearby them. He just, bam, they're dead, just like that. And then he calls in Bornan. I want to say his name's Bornan. Either way, though, you do have this other creature walk in to clear the table for our mysterious character. But then you have our creature, Bornan, say that our mysterious character's name is Dr. Stasis. Now, Dr. Stasis is going to be very important for future books down the road. But he says, you know what? Even though they died, I do love autopsies a lot. And so basically he's going to cut them up to look at their dead bodies. But also he has a lot of reading to do. And of course, his readings are about the X-Men. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So with that being said, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.